start the recording there, and then I'll just, same as usual,
Okay.
be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Okay.
And then, yeah, let's get started.
I'm gonna try to communicate with my team a bit more than I think I usually do
Okay.
with you in the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. In that situation, it might be a good idea to just walk the cart up before you start pushing in aggressively. That just gives you extra cover to use once you get there. And good aggression. I like the fire strike so far. But yeah, like just we ended up pushing just slightly fast, which just meant that we lacked like the cart cover that we could have had. Besides that, all really good.
Bad charge.
Alright, so I would have liked to see you playing. I think we were a little far forwards to begin with. I would have seen you, like to see you playing on that corner a bit more. And then besides that as well, note that it's not your job as Reinhardt to peel for the Reaper unless he's like, unless there's nothing else to do, or he's already like right next to you, right? Like if he's right next to you, go for it. If there's absolutely nothing else to do, go for it. But if you're in the middle of holding off the front line, it's not your responsibility to deal with him, and then you just kind of give him so much space when you turn around. Massive shatter, watch for the sleep. Probably could, once you kill that Reinhardt there, probably could just charge to catch up to everybody else if they're far away.
Makes sense.
Like even here when we're trying to get staggers, yeah, exactly. Charge in to get closer to them. Yep, gotta watch for those Ana abilities, right? So the watching for sleep and nade, really important. Keep your eyes on her and make sure you're looking to shield them, because that's pretty much what got us killed there.
Yeah.
All the way, no condom, no lube, let's go. Give birth.
That's not the direction I was expecting.
Oh, I got charged out of his spawn. What a lucky bitch. High five six. Almost done mine for you.
Okay, once again, I'd probably say a little far forwards, right? No, we've talked. I think you mentioned as well, like we've already talked about No Man's Land. There we're at the front of the No Man's Land. We also, again, I like to see us using the cart as cover, right? Because it acts as really good cover for our whole team. So in that situation, if we were like back on cart, that gives us the No Man's Land advantage while also giving us more positioning cover to use. Unfortunate. If you see that there's nobody there to shoot at you, you might want to drop your shield so you can like move faster out of the dragon, for example. Right. So far, I think we're seeing a lot of like really tiny mistakes and things work. Nothing like super major as of yet, or super consistent.
Thank you.
So, press tab real quick. I think we died. It's up. Death number 4. Is that 5? Okay, so maybe you would know that like we're dying a decent bit, right? We're survivability, make sure we're looking to stay alive, right? In that last fight, I don't think we were paying attention to our health bar, so we just ended up getting melted. We never like put shield up. We never played passive, so we want to make sure that we're looking to stay alive, because when we're dead, we don't do anything. Not sure if we've had that discussion before. If we have not, we can go over it later.
Dying is negative impact.
Yep. So great charge.
Very low. Go. Huge. Fucking nice. Let's go.
More run.
Point. 1 HP.
Didn't even see him.
Yep. Fire striking charges are looking very solid at the moment. Excellent. Yep, like near perfect with those two abilities. Excellent shatter. Watch that Reinhardt though, right? He got you twice with that long distance charge, so we gotta keep our
Yeah.
eyes open and being aware of it, because that almost led to our team getting shattered if we,
Yeah.
because I
If
don't
I
think
hadn't
we,
got the sleep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me? Almost at mines again.
Okay. We've talked about kill feed and like how to tell whether or not the fight's won or lost, yeah?
Yeah.
Have we talked about all the other things that go into whether or not you're winning or losing a fight?
I don't know. I
All
don't
right,
remember.
then maybe we'll
Specifically.
add that in, because that's the general rule, but there's also a bunch of other things that situationally affect it. So we'll go
Okay.
over that. But in that last fight, note that you were down like 2 people and we started playing really aggressive on the Reaper.
Okay.
Alright, so press tab real quick. Noting 7 deaths, right? So quite a lot of deaths for one single round of the game. Not even one round. So at the moment, right, you can make these evaluations yourself while you're playing and identify, okay, I'm dying a lot this game. One of the win conditions for us winning here is me dying less, right? So we want to make sure we're concentrating as this game going forwards on making sure we're not dying through all those various means.
Why do you use it there? Just to get bigger?
So in that situation, why do you think you died?
So dragon got me.
Yeah, so in that situation, like, how does Dragon end up killing us there? I guess maybe like we just maybe sat in it a little too long,
Yeah.
looking to get out of it sooner. Might just be one of the only things, being aware that it's coming.
Yeah.
But honestly, not a ton you could have fixed with that one. Okay. Was there anything you could have done there to stop from dying?
I don't think so.
No thing. So do you remember what the 4 different, when we've talked about survivability, what are the 4 reasons why people die usually?
I don't know if we've talked about that.
Oh, okay, we haven't? Alright. Do we talked about deaths being negative impact. We talk about, oh, wait a second. So when we talk about like when you die, how many seconds are you dead for?
5 seconds, and then it takes at least 5 to get back. But
10 and 10. So it's
okay.
10 seconds to respawn, 10 seconds to walk back to the fight, right? So it's 20 seconds of death. So maybe we didn't actually have that discussion. So I think we'll go a little bit in depth on survivability. I guess why don't we have that now? Survivability, 20 seconds of each death. Right now you press tab, I think we have like 8 or 9 deaths, something like that, right? That's a lot of deaths, right? That means that so far in this game we've been dead for almost 3 minutes of gameplay, which if you once you get out of game, check how much time is on the time bank, if you on the top left of tab, and that's a whole heck of a lot of time. You could be getting off like 2-3 shatters in that time.
Yeah.
You could be doing a lot of things, getting a lot of value, but you're getting 0 value, and on top of that you're getting 10 deaths, right? So that's 3 minutes and 20 seconds out of 8 minutes and 38 seconds, right? So 838 divided by 320, that is not, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Never mind. In any case, let's keep going, right? Deaths are bad. 4 causes of deaths are poor positioning, such as being out in the open, not using cover, being in no man's land, right? You have lack of awareness. You have a misuse of abilities, such as like if you don't shield or you charge into their team, and then you have over aggression, like running into their team or just going too far in, right? So those are the
Okay.
4 causes of deaths. Think through, why did I die? You can do that even while you're in game because you'll have that break after you die. So think, why did I die? Look to fix it. We're dying a lot, so we want to look to stop that from happening so we can get a lot more value. And when we get the chance, we probably want to be on... Oh, you can definitely get aggressive off of that. Okay, very nice. Your preferred holding corner is probably not where you were holding, but 1 corner behind that. Right? Because then that gives you an extra choke to force them through.
Yeah.
So if your team's all holding up here, hold up here, probably start backing up. Yeah, so that probably say that was because you're in bad positioning that happened.
Yeah.
So in that situation, like at the very beginning, see if you can get your team to back up. You can do that through you backing up yourself sooner. You can communicate it and say, back up with me here, right? But I'd hold
Yeah.
that second corner rather than the first corner. You can start at the first corner to get a fire strike. After that backup, right. So identifying the death, right? Thinking, why did I die there? What do you think was the reason why we died?
I pushed too far forward.
Push too far forwards. Maybe getting a little over aggressive, like not shielding at all, right? We just kind of went, like we went in and went in, right?
Yeah.
Have we talked about aggression scaling at all?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we were going at 100% when maybe we should have been at like a 40-50%. Okay. Watch pushing forwards without your team. We were getting really aggressive there when we didn't have anybody. That's unfortunate. Possibly charge a little bit sooner, like right after he charges, because that's when he's going to be locked in and he's like, he can't really dodge out of it when
Yeah.
he's charging.
Okay.
Stalling for now.
Okay, watch, don't jump before you shatter. I think them probably something we might have mentioned in the past, but
Yeah, we did mention that once.
yeah, so just make sure we're not jumping. That's just going to extend the duration.
No.
Okay. Here, again, probably want to just be holding back a little bit more, like right behind cart. Here would be preferable on that corner. This forces them through another choke point.
100 charge, he's very alive.
Yep, and then if you do need to, you can... Was there much we could have done there?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I
So
got grabbed and
there are going to be deaths that you can't prevent, right? That's going to happen.
right.
But most of them, there is something you could have done better, right?
Yeah.
In a lot of cases. That one, not so much, right? But I'd say maybe like 80% of your deaths, there's something you could have done better.
Definitely. Definitely.
All right, why would I there?
No healers.
No healers. Like we are way too far ahead of our whole team, right? So being aware of where our team is at, right? So it was a mix of awareness and over aggression because we're just way too far forwards when we didn't have any teammates with us, right?
Right.
Watching the health bar, shield a little bit earlier. Okay. When fights start, a lot of times you just go swing, 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 swing. Want to be ready for the shield a little bit sooner. Once you reach like 250 HP, which is like half of your health, that is around the time in which you're looking to put shield back up, right? Get healed up, and then you can get more aggressive. It can be, before you don't leave yet, press tab whenever you're able. 16 deaths, right? In the course of 10 minutes and... 10 minutes, yeah, accurate? Or is it...
Yeah.
Is it I wonder if it's
Probably
is
like
that
10,
still
30.
counting? No, 12 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay, so
Yeah.
12 minutes 50 seconds. So let's just do some quick math. 16 deaths times 20 and is 320 minutes of gameplay, or wait, sorry, 320 seconds of gameplay, right, where you are doing absolutely nothing, right? Now, if we do 12 minutes to, times 60, make that in seconds, plus 50, right, and then minus, oh, I just forgot the, okay, so then that's minus, or sorry, let me do divide. Sorry, I'm just doing a bunch of quick math here. So basically, we spent almost half of the game dead. Almost, not quite.
Yeah.
It's it divided into by 2.4.
Mhm.
So not a great rate to have, right? So in general, right? So 16 times 20 and then divide by 60. So we spent 5 minutes and 20 seconds of the game dead, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a lot of time to be dead, right? It means that you're losing out on so much value, right? Think of that in terms of 4 shatters, right? Think of that in
Yeah.
terms of so much tanking, so many shields, so much damage you can do, so many kills you can get, and so many fights that you're now winning if you stay alive, right? So make sure actively paying attention to reasons why we're dying. I would probably say that let me think through this. Honestly, I'd say it was a pretty even spread across the different reasons. I think you died maybe the most from overaggression. I'd say that was maybe the biggest thing. But then you also still died because you didn't put up shield, and I don't think you ever died because you like charged into them. So like I maybe say like the misuse of abilities was limited to shield usage, right? We wouldn't shield when we were low. Making sure we're using cover properly. Don't go up too far past no man's land and choke points. So we have discussed no man's land and chokes, right, before.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna stream if you'd like to take a look. Um, and then finally awareness. That one, just paying attention to our environments. So Reinhardt, we discuss. Let's talk about all of the other things that go into whether or not you're winning or losing a fight. Because we've talked about aggression scaling before. We've talked about watching kill feed, right? So we understand watch kill feed that affects our aggression, but kill feed is not the only thing that affects whether or not you're winning or losing, right? There's a lot of other things that go into this. That is why when we talk about kill feed and the numbers that go into kill feed, it's 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3, right? 2 is the middleman. It applies to both of them because 2 it could go either way, right? It really depends upon the situation. How do you tell which way it's going? Well, there's a lot of other factors that go into this, right? Which team has more health? Which team has better positioning? Which team has more abilities? Which team has more ultimates? Which team has closer spawns, right? There's a lot of things. Which team is more grouped up? Or alternatively, which team's more split up, right? Sometimes being split up is a good thing. It depends on the comp and the situation. Right, so there's a lot of things that go into this, right? And it's paying attention to all those different things, right? If your team, right? So like, let me give you an example of how this would interact. Everything interacts with each other. If you are down 2 people and you have no additional advantage, that is a lost fight, right? So if I'm walking into a fight and they get 2 kills, that's pretty much lost already because you usually don't walk into fights at an advantage, right?
Right.
Typically, you can, maybe if you're walking in with an ult advantage of like 6 to 2, well then maybe that's winnable still, right? Because you
Mhm.
have a bunch of ults to come back with, right? Because you have a big additional advantage or a bunch of smaller advantages, right? Like maybe we have a couple more ults and a bunch more abilities and maybe a little bit better positioning, right? And a
Mhm.
little closer spawns, right? So they can all add up, or that you can have one big thing that impacts it, right? So you can be down 2 people but have close spawns on a 2 CP map and get your spawns back instantaneously, and that still be winnable, right?
Yeah.
Or you could be down 2 people and their entire team could be 1 HP, still could be winnable, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of other factors that go into this. There's a fight in particular where the fight was just starting, right? And we lost 2 people, right?
Mhm.
Went 2, and then we went aggressive. We got up and chased after the Reaper, and then we ended
Okay.
up dying because of it. When in that situation, if we're going back to aggression scaling, when we're down those 2 people, that's a lost fight. We should have backed up and gone down to like a 10-20% aggression, where we should have been
Yeah.
backing and waiting for our teammates. Instead, we bumped it up to like an 80% for who knows what reason.
Yeah.
So making sure we're paying attention to that, paying attention to our aggression scaling. Definitely think that we want to work on that. I think, and also noting just with aggression scaling that aggression can change drastically in the course of seconds to milliseconds, right? So you can
Mhm.
be going at 100% 1 second and should be at 10% the next second, right? What would
Right.
be? Do you think of? Give me an example of what would be a factor that would cause us to go from 100% aggression to 10% aggression in the course of a second?
Being anti.
Not necessarily, right? What if you have,
No.
what if you have nano boost, and what if you're full HP? Well, if you're full
Yeah.
HP, then you might not need to immediately put down your shield. Like, what if their entire team's 1 HP and you are full HP? Like, do you really need to, back up and play at 10% aggression if you're
No.
full HP? Maybe not. So I think you're on the right track, though not quite there, right? Anti
Mhm.
definitely would affect your aggression. Maybe you'd start considering lowering the lowering the aggression at that point, right?
Right.
Or be very ready to lower your aggression.
Right.
So think again.
Both healers dying, maybe.
Both the others dying. Well, yeah, that would be like if you're at 100% aggression and you see that you lose 2 people, and then maybe let's say that might even it out, right? Like, so I'm trying to think, because if you're at 100% aggression, right, then you might already be winning the fight, so you might not necessarily go down to 10%, but I could see that being true, yeah. So I think that you are right, maybe not in every situation, but I think that's a decent answer to the question. I'd say a good example of this would be, and it's going to happen very frequently in your gameplay, is let's say like we're chasing it, like we see like the Reinhardt's like 1 HP, and we're running
Mhm.
in, we're at 100% aggression because we have that opportunity. But
Right.
then we get down to 100 HP, right? That
Right.
is an example of where in the course of like 1 second, they melt our HP down. In the course of 1 second, our aggression shifts from us being insanely aggressive to us being insanely passive
Okay.
instantaneously, right? So I think we need to get that through our heads that we're going to have to shift very frequently, and we have to be ready for that shift, because I think we get into these mindsets where we're thinking, okay, I'm at 100%, and then you stay at 100% for the next 10 seconds, right? Or you
Okay.
think, I'm at 10%, I should stay at 10% for the next 5-10 seconds, right? And we get into those
Okay.
mindsets, whereas it's going to be constantly fluctuating throughout the entirety of the fight. They're not always going to be that extreme, but they can be that extreme, right?
Okay.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
that's
So
fair.
I think that ended up causing a lot of deaths as well. Was just we ended up getting too over aggressive, and we just weren't paying attention to that aggression scaling. Fire strike and charge usage, phenomenal. Of course, not perfect, but for your current level, not seeming at all like it needs any work. Shield management usage, I think the management side of it is looking good. I'd say really the only thing I'd say is like, I think you're doing good on knowing how to use it, and I think just it's more the when to use it is the thing, particularly using it for yourself, right? I want to see us getting better at like using it to save ourselves and save our HP and stay alive is the thing that needs work with shield management. Um,
Okay.
let's see. Is there anything else we're going to talk about? You can probably go ahead and queue for a game unless I remember something here.
Okay.
Yeah. So biggest factor by far in that game was deaths. Like that, as of
Yeah.
the moment, if that were to be a continual factor in this next game that you get into, that would put your survivability at like a high priority, right? Or even,
Yeah.
I might say, very high priority.
Gotcha.
All right.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think that's it for the moment.
Yeah, looking back and thinking about it, I really don't even. I know I wasn't paying attention to the kill feed very much during that
Mhm.
game, and I should have been.
Yep. So during
That's.
this, you go ahead. Mhm.
I was just gonna say that's the thing that I feel like I try to when I join games. I do what you tell me, where you said think awareness, 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 like before
Mm.
I play the game, um, and then I get into playing, and it's tough for me to focus
Mm.
on that.
Yep. And you remember, it's not just awareness, awareness, awareness before the game. It's awareness, awareness, awareness during the game, right? You're giving yourself that constant reminder while you're playing, right? And then that's how you remember to keep it up. Not you can't, focusing once at the or reminding yourself once at the beginning isn't going to lead to that improvement. You have to be constantly reminding yourself throughout. So throughout this game, I probably would say, like, let's practice at that. Make your number one focus staying alive, right? And focusing on the reasons why you're dying and how to fix them, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you give yourself a constant reminder to focus on that. I'll give you reminders. Of course, I'll be telling you, like, hey, think about your death that just happened, like, every other second. So make sure that we're just paying attention and putting effort into that. Here, we
Yeah.
probably go for, like, a spawn fire strike, right? So, like, anytime
Yeah.
you have the opportunity, go for that. Just easy ult charge.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Is I've played up top before, but people don't really want to do that. So that was bad.
Oh.
Jump threats now.
Yep. Yep. Definitely say good positioning. Hold on that corner. That's where you want to be.
Sit up top.
Hold that corner a little bit more tightly. Don't give Sigma that free space, right? You want to keep him at bay. Punish him for pushing. We backed up kind of unnecessarily there.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're getting aggressive. Yep, good so far. Just keep your eye on the situation.
Stuck at 50 shot.
Yep. Make sure we're not just soaking up that needless spam damage, put your shield down to recharge. That's all stuff that we've talked about, right?
Yeah.
Already, yeah. And just soaking up some more spam damage there. Make sure we're watching that. So in that situation, I was about to say it, but I want you to think through it, right? Why do you think you died there?
I engaged the Rhine, and he was nanoed.
Yep. So when you see a nano Reinhardt, probably instinct should be back up, not go in, right? So on the aggression scaling, that's a disadvantage. Don't take 1v1s and don't take duels where you know that you're actively in a disadvantage, right? If somebody's nanoed, you don't want to fight them if you're not nanoed, right? Just
Yeah.
fairly simple. I think that's self-explanatory. We just want to think about that while we're playing.
Yeah. I thought I should push forward a little bit because I moved out of the immortality field, and I was like, oh, we'll get in the immortality field because you're probably gonna die anyway.
Yep. Don't.
But
I keep away from the idea. You can think that, but try to keep your away from the idea of I'm gonna die anyways. Oh, unfortunate. Yeah, like there definitely. I would say the only time you want to think like I'm gonna die anyways is if it's trying to think. That's a very hard concept. I'd say hold off on that until you're better at identifying when you're gonna die anyways.
that's fair.
because there definitely are times where you are 100% gonna die anyways, but I don't know if we're the best judge of that at the moment.
Yeah.
And we're just keeping an eye on our health. Yeah. Sorry if there's a miscommunication there. Eye on your health meant watch it, not not that you were low or anything. So we ended up playing after we landed the shatter. We started playing passive after I
Yeah.
mentioned that. When I meant it more so like you're getting into a duel, make sure we're paying attention to it. So in that situation, probably should have kept getting aggressive. Watch your positioning. Watch, like, do I have teammates here with me? Like, am I a little far forward? I'd probably say we were a little far forwards there.
Yeah.
Usually you want to hold around cart. Cart is usually a good measurement for where you're holding. Doesn't have to be exactly on cart. Can be, though. Okay. In that situation, how long did it take you to get behind in the corner when Moira started coalescing you?
Um, a while.
Yeah. So therefore, I'd probably say in that situation, one of the biggest reasons why you died was because of poor positioning, right? Because we just weren't using cover, right? Just remember, good positioning
Yeah.
is the usage of cover, bad positioning is the absence of cover. We stood in the coalescence for like 4 seconds because we were just so far away from cover, right?
Yeah.
I'll try to hook
Mm. Yeah, just being a better judge of where that's at. Oh, I didn't even know that was coming that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keeping our ears open, watching for it, look to shield it. It was a good play by the Junkrat, so I mean, like, that's, again, there are as well going to be deaths that happen where, like, there is maybe stuff you could have done, but it's understandable that you died, and it's not a major mistake, right? It's not like, it's not a you charged into their team type of death. And keep your eye out for those sleeps. Make sure we're looking to intentionally shield those abilities, so, you know, that we don't get stopped halfway through our nano. Alright, why do we think we died there?
Behind cover.
Yep, not behind cover. Additionally, like, let's say we were even near cover, like, we blew up in like a second, right?
Yeah.
What else? Because, you know, just being near cover doesn't necessarily mean that you wouldn't have been blown up near. I definitely think you're right, but there's probably more to that as well. Focus on the fight. Answer after. Okay. Good chatter. I recommend going for the fire strike just because it's extra damage.
Yeah. Okay.
So in that lesson, analyze the death beforehand, right? Probably say on top of positioning, we just weren't paying attention to the damage that was coming in, right? We just, in that situation, we could have shielded, but we didn't, right? Shield 100% keeps you alive there if we use shield, and then not using shield means that we weren't paying attention, because I think one of the biggest damage, just if, for example, I didn't analyze everything that hit you, but I saw Junkrat shot you and then mined you, right? And then that's a big chunk of damage there. Those are slow projectiles that you can see coming in, therefore that's very easily shielded, right? So making sure that we're paying attention to that, pay attention to your surroundings, be aware, use your shield, keep yourself alive, use cover as well, right? Overall, pressing tab. Last time we had 16 deaths in 2 rounds. This time we have 6 deaths in 1 round. That means that if we have the same length round again, that'd be 12. So as of the moment, doing
Still
better
dying
than
a
last.
lot.
Still dying a lot, but doing better than last round. So like if we're at that current rate, we're we're saving a minute and 20 seconds of gameplay, right?
Okay.
So in comparison, a lot better. In comparison to where you should be, still bad, right?
Yeah.
So improvement.
Wait until you see my
We're
win.
looking for more improvement still.
Yeah. Getting better is still a lot of work to do.
Yep. Good job watching your health bar there. Good shield. Now you're full, so we can start looking to push. We're up a pick. We're up 2 picks. Right, I'm just letting you watch kill feed here.
Nice.
Objective A captured.
Or should I try and go and contest high ground?
If you have 2 other teammates going, you might consider it, though you might be at a disadvantage trying if their whole
Okay.
team's there. I'd say you want to scout it out there before you just hard engage to the high ground, because I didn't know like how many teammates do they have up there type of deal.
Right.
Charging back to spawn probably be a good idea just to get back faster. Why do you think that you lost the fight there?
My team got shattered.
Okay. How did we impact that?
I backed up and went into cover on the left-hand side or the right-hand side instead of
Main, right?
yeah.
So backing up the right direction is really important, right? That way we can actually help our team out.
Yeah.
And get awareness and shield. No. Is the fight still happening? Where's the fight happening at? Right.
The roof. Yeah.
Do we have our team with us here?
Oh.
Yeah, so I just wanted you to like be thinking maybe not time to be backing up the cart when the fight's still happening and our team's still fighting. That's why you don't jump,
Yep.
because you were able to see that coming from a mile away and block it.
Yeah.
If I was not looking, I think in that situation we could have been shielding, but I wasn't paying too much attention.
Yeah, my ult.
Okay, what's happening? Kill feed.
They're down tank.
Good aggression, right? So we identified, we're at an advantage, we push aggressively, we clean them all up, right? I'm just
And then I
giving,
can push
yeah.
right now too, because
Yep. Because they got a bunch of bad spawns, right? They got some staggers.
Yep.
And I'm also, just so you're aware, I'm not saying look at kill feed because it was necessarily a mistake you made. I'm mentioning it to remind you and just to get you in the habit of looking at it at the right times.
Yeah.
My ultimate is charged.
Alright, a bubble.
I got hungry. Get the Reinhardt.
Alright. Why would I?
Got pinned.
Okay, what could we have done to prevent getting pinned?
Um, well, I'd already pinned, so I didn't have counter. But
So, do you think that missing the pin is therefore like misuse of ability because that results in us dying?
yeah,
Right. Additionally, we also spent a large portion of that fight out in the open, right? So cover usage again. Also watch for the shield and the bubble with shatter, right? Keep your eye on those things.
yeah.
Thanks, Mercy. Alright, we brought that to payload. I'm gonna push you. Just kidding, I'm watching the right door.
Little too close forwards.
Oh, what? Run on point, run on point. I'm like locked up. Tight.
Typically, I recommend just sitting on point. I'd say is the better strategy because you can go up and contest them either way they come, left or right. And you're kind of like on your own there, up against a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna dive down right now.
On right side.
I'm trapped.
Watch health bar, right? So we're swinging like when we're 100 to, when we're swinging like when you're like 30 HP, but then also like 130, right? Make sure we're not doing that. Put up your shield. Press tab real quick. Yeah, okay. So last time we had 6 deaths. This round we had 3 deaths. Do you feel like you got more value in your first round or this round?
This round.
This round, right? So you can probably just feel the difference just by playing that you're doing a whole heck of a lot more when you're not dead constantly. So we died
Yeah.
half as much, so we did a lot more, right?
Yeah.
So look at that's still better, it's still improvement. Keep it up.
Yeah. Even if I'm
Let's see.
not being like, because like I feel sometimes like I should be being more aggressive, but if I'm dying, then because I'm being too aggressive, it's just so much
Yep.
worse for my team. It's
Mhm.
better to
Yep.
pull back a little bit, even if I feel like I'm being passive and I should be swinging more, trying to get into it more.
Yep, and just to make sure you're not going the complete opposite direction, because that could be bad.
Yeah.
Note that it is bad to purely focus on survivability, right? You could be sitting in your spawn the entire game and never die, but then you never accomplish anything, right? So you
Yeah.
need to find a healthy balance between doing things and being productive and aggressive and staying alive at the same, all while doing that, right? So you need to find that
Yeah.
healthy balance of how do I do things while staying alive? Staying alive doesn't mean you just do nothing, right?
Yeah.
One. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Even now.
Heaven may watch out for walls. There's one mid there. They have dive comp, so it's still bad. Kill them like someone never dies.
Okay, good fight.
Genji's probably close to blade. Left side, man. Monkey on point, monkey on point. Or left side. Now it's on. Nice, good.
Alright, good round. not a lot of any big problems, right? We stayed alive, we did things, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it.
I was really trying to stay alive because I knew they only had a minute, and if I die, if they get one pick, then we have a problem.
Yep.
Select your hero.
I feel like there's like something I wanted to talk about, but then I completely forgot about what it was, and then now I'm kicking myself because I can't remember what it was. So in any case, if it's a problem, then it'll show up again. So we'll eventually get to it. We have enough coaching sessions coming up to where we'll find it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, well, if I do it again, in the upcoming
Yeah.
games, which I probably will, then it'll be a big one. So.
Mhm.
Attack commences in 30 seconds.
I think it was. Have we discussed before how to
Okay, I'm gonna do
pay
this
attention to
shatter.
like Reinhardt shatters and when the enemy team's gonna have their
Jump on the
shatter?
high ground. First high ground.
Not too much. I
Not too much.
mean,
Okay, why don't we'll talk about that briefly before. Actually, I'm not sure if we're gonna have enough time to talk about that. We'll see how long this round takes. Charge up to
okay,
your team to catch up to them when you're like lagging behind that far, right?
yeah,
Or even if just walking on a spawn, it's just a good idea to get there sooner.
Okay, ready, Genji?
Okay. They're on a spam, so the name of the game, right, is going to be getting aggressive and going in hard and fast, right? Teammates are
before I
going
already
in.
dropped that.
I'm sleeping, I'm jumping out, I'm jumping out.
Right, so what's aggression at the moment?
Genji's looking for a fucking
Yep.
mark.
So in that situation, what could we have done to prevent death?
Maybe pulled back a little bit. I was really deep in their line.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit deep. Um, maybe swap it. I'd look Pinkfish into Hog's health bar and swap it over to Mercy sooner.
Yeah,
Definitely say one of the biggest things though is shield his hook. Right? If you shield his hook, he's not gonna kill you. There, right?
Alright, we get one more fight.
And then you might even be able to kill the Mercy there as well, which ends up turning that fight into a one fight if you stay alive and kill the Mercy.
I'll have my ult. Try to get it out.
Make sure you're getting those spam fire strikes in.
I can't touch points, someone else has to touch. Nice. And we tried it.
So, yep. Could have played it slightly better. Shatter, I don't think we were paying to. I think we only got the hog and that was it. Right, so make sure we were watching like who's around to actually shatter. I think that we've seen that a couple times where like we'll shatter and there'll not be a ton of people even there to shatter.
yeah,
So shatter usage, we haven't talked a ton on shatter usage, but make sure we're watching and keeping our eyes open for like, who's around, what can block it. Sometimes we shattered into bubbles and shields, right, when they're just sitting there, right? Besides that, so we had 11 deaths that game, much better in
yep,
comparison to 16, right? That's gonna be like a minute and 40 seconds less, right?
yep,
Than last time, so it's a lot better. Still could use some work, right? Like you're going to notice that you're going like the games where you're carrying and you're having like a ton of value, so much value that your team could be garbage and you're still winning, is when you're in those games where you have like 2 deaths, right? Where you're going like or even like you're going like 40 and 4, right? Those
yeah,
very high KDs. One of the biggest stat indicators I would say of if you're doing good is KD in this game, right? Of
okay,
how many kills do I have in relation to how many deaths do I have. Um, might say that on Tang you could have a little bit lower of a KD and be good in comparison to DPS, but rough rules I would say still apply. So oh, one moment, baby sister just called in the room. Let me get rid of her.
okay. No worries.
All right, sorry, Meg. So yeah, so in terms of like KD, right? 0 KD, garbage. Negative KD, absolute garbage. 0, really bad. 1, still terrible. 2, starting to do like bearably bad, right? 3 KD is where you, or sorry, 2 is okay, right? 2 is decent. I'm sorry, I went a little too harsh on that one. 2 is okay. 3 is now where you're starting to get to the range of where you're kind of doing your job, right? You're existing enough. You're doing things, but you're not. You're by in no means are you doing like really good or carrying, right? 4 KD, right? Where this would be like a 4-to-1 ratio, right? 4 kills, 1 death, right? 4 KDs to like, let's say 4 and 5 is like now you're starting to do pretty good, right? You're starting to do decent, right? Then you have like 6 to 7 where you're doing really good, and then I'd probably say like on tank, why don't we say like 6, 7, and 8 are really good, and then 8 plus is like carrying range or around that. Typically on DPS, I'd say it's like 10 plus. Honestly, like on tank, it could be. The reason why I'd say that is because like if you're playing Reinhardt, I'd say you probably die a little bit more in comparison to some other characters because you're gonna be getting caught in those like grab dragons, for example, much more than other characters will. So you have some unpreventable deaths that will be happening a little bit more often than other characters, and I'd say you're probably not gonna get as many kills as a DPS character. So I'd say that's lowered slightly from a DPS. So in any case, let's rush. I spent a little too much time on that. Let's rush through the thingy mabob here real quick. Go through all the points. So ability usage. Fire Strike, fantastic. Charge, fantastic. Minor problems, not a big deal, right? We'll get to those more advanced as they come up. Shield usage, main thing is don't shield against unnecessary spam. Drop shield and let it recharge when it's not needed, and then make sure you're actually shielding when you're low HP, right? Don't hold on to it. Make sure you're using it. And then besides that, overall ability usage probably goes like a low to medium priority for you to work on, right? Ultimate usage, I mean, we haven't talked a ton on it. Make sure that we're just looking to get more people in it. Pay attention to things that can block it. Pay attention to the fact that like there's nobody there when there's nobody there, right? So we're not just shattering one person. And then besides that, overall probably like a low to medium priority as well. Reinhardt does not have mechanics at all, but moving on to positioning, make sure you're using cover. We spend a lot of time outside of cover. Good positioning is usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Make sure that we are respecting no man's land, the choke points. We didn't a couple times, right? We did a decent bit, but there were a couple times where, like, you know, I had to remind you, like, hey, you're a little far forwards at the moment, right? Like, you should be holding back here, right? That sort of idea. Make sure as well that we are trying to think those, yeah, and then positioning led to a bunch of deaths as well, right? So pay attention to your positioning. Make sure that we're making it good. Don't position away from your team as well, right? Stay with your team, stick with them. Overall, probably like a medium priority for positioning. Awareness / aggression, right? When pay attention to your health bar, right? Watch your health. Pay attention to your shield health, right? Pay attention to kill feed. Pay attention to all the other things that go into whether or not you're winning or losing, right? Which team has more health? Which team has better positioning? Which team has closer spawns? Which team has more ults, more abilities, right? All these different things that affect the gameplay. Adjust accordingly, right? Listen, keep your ears open, watch, look at your surroundings, right? Pay attention to where is my team at. Sometimes we'd like walk in when we had no teammates around us, right? Make sure you're paying attention to where is my team, right? Pay attention to where the enemy team is as well, so we're not like shattering nobody, right? Besides that, how does it affect aggression? Aggression scaling, right? Adjust upwards with advantages and opportunities, right? And you adjust downwards with disadvantages and a lack of ability or a lack of resources. Sorry. And note that this can change very drastically, very fast. Don't feel like you're locked into it. because sometimes it felt like we were locked into it. I think we did a lot better with that, like after I mentioned it, and in the second game, but especially in the first game and the first round of the second game, we just kind of felt a little stiff with it, where like we weren't very dynamic with how we were changing our aggression, right? It was
Yeah.
very like, I am 100%. Now I am, 0%. Now I
Yeah.
am this, right? It was very slow, and it didn't fluctuate as much as it should have, right? So
Right.
that's about. Oh, and then survivability, big one. Oh, I didn't put a number on that. So awareness / aggression probably goes like a medium high. Survivability, pay attention to your deaths. Make sure you're not dying. Deaths are terrible. 20 seconds per death is how long you're going to be dead for. Besides that, pay attention to why you're dying, right? Deaths are usually caused by misuse of abilities,
Yeah.
over-aggression, poor positioning, lack of awareness, right? So if we were going to put this into like, if I were to like rate those on like how much you need to work on them individually, probably say we died the most from over-aggression. Let's say that was the
Okay.
one we died the most from. Maybe followed secondly by positioning, thirdly by your ability usage, making sure shielding, and then finally by awareness at the end. They're not, by no means I would say that those are like drastically different, so you still need to work on all of them. That's just maybe a
Mm-hmm.
slight list if you're looking for an order on which to work on them. In any case, that's a high priority. So in order real quick, survivability is number 1, awareness / aggression is number 2, positioning is number 3. Probably say you're honestly, you just like tie the bottom two, like with awareness, your ability usage and ultimate usage. Yeah, ability usage,
Okay.
ultimate usage are around tied. And then that's about it. Any questions on anything we talked about or anything else in general?
No, not at the moment.
Alrighty, so then I'm gonna